Hey, my name is Charity Majors, and I am an author, a speaker, and an online entrepreneur. And I'm actually making this little video series because I'm kind of testing the waters on something. I have been trying to kind of find this rhythm and this flow with my business and my life, and I can't quite seem to get a good rhythm with it. And having a little bit of background with some different energy and being in the state and different things like that. And also understanding that, especially for us as women, we are very, very affected by what the moon does, right? We are 70 to 80% water as human beings, and the moon controls the tides and even the light that it reflects from the sun, whether it's the big full moon or as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller compared to bigger and bigger and brighter. That affects us as humans, and just the light that comes into our eyes and the rhythms that we feel with our body and the different energies that are going on around us in the universe and the world. And so kind of wanting to bring a little bit more awareness to this topic in my own life, I started reading this great book by Lucy Pierce called Moon Time. And so it's harness the ever-changing energy of your menstrual cycle. So getting some of just the natural rhythms of how I operate as a woman, not only in sync with the moon, and so she brings up some really interesting points. And so, like I said, I am kind of experimenting with some of this. I don't know if it's going to work or if it's going to be a big flop, but I figured I'd at least document my journey along the way, and maybe it'll help some of you guys. And if you have found things that work, please comment and let me know. I would love to know what's working for you. But I also have before I jump into some of this stuff, I also have a background in health and fitness and nutrition. And so I'm going to kind of phase or create my calendar and the activities that I do, the work activities, the recording activities, the content creation, the meetings, the networking, the brainstorming, the time for reflection, the whatever it might be, as well as the workouts and the fitness and the nutrition, according to the moon time, right? According to my body, as well as and getting that in sync with the rhythms of the moon and seeing how it works. So what I love about this book is it just gives you a good in-depth view of how not only our bodies work, but then the different phases that go on with the moon. So I'll pull up a little picture here that I just Googled. I literally just Googled moon phases. And this is a picture that showed up, but it talks about, so obviously we've got the full moon, and then as it gets brighter and brighter, which is its brightest compared to a little bit darker and darker, to now where it's the closest to the sun. It doesn't reflect the sun a lot by any means, and then we start to go back and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter again. So these are kind of the moon phases. So it's the waning and the waxing, which I'm still trying to figure out. And there's like the first quarter and the last quarter moon. And like I said, all these terms I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But I kind of was making some notes here on, so using moon time and then kind of putting in some activities that are going to be applicable for me as a content creator, as a writer, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur, as a fitness, health and wellness lover, and just human being. So the first phase, that is for us as women, that's when we start our menstrual cycle. So the first day of our menstrual cycle. And in moon time, the author calls this more of the wise woman, or if you want to equate this to a season, like all 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. So this one would be more of a winter. And this one is definitely when you are, I'm pulling up the moon phases. So this one is definitely more of like the winter phase, right? So we've got the darker moon. And so this is more of a time as the moon is darker, we're menstruating as women, we're to be more reflective, passive, a little bit more withdrawn, a little bit subconscious, a little bit more of that subconscious intuition, and more of an inward focus. So this is good for things like creative rewriting, reaching the core of things, letting go, forgiveness, reframing. So working on on our mindset. Yeah, intuitive creativity. So whether it's, painting or coloring or creating, without any guidelines, if you will, rest and renewal. And so for this week, and I'm planning it in my handy dandy little passion planner that I love. And if you don't have it, you should get it. But for that week, I'm going to plan definitely things like yin yoga and some of the slower yoga movements, not necessarily maybe a vinyasa, a bath, time for reading and writing and reflecting. So this is a little bit more where my introvert comes out. So I'm going to honor that side of me. So now the second phase, this one is after menstruation is done. So this is kind of where we start to move towards the light, and the light starts to kind of come. And so that second phase is a little bit more here. And so this one is more equated to spring, or as the author of Moontime calls it, the maiden. And so this is after the bleeding stops. And so the energies for this one are dynamic, active, increasing conscious awareness. So now we're moving from that internal subconscious to that external. All right, so I might be more extroverted, or I'm going to definitely be more extroverted at this time. This is the best time for creativity, learning, concentration, structural thinking, independence, and physical stamina. So for me as an entrepreneur, for my health and fitness, I might include things more like resistance training. So a good heavy weight, heavy workout, endurance training, maybe some HIIT training. I might also be really inclined to, go to parties, go to networking events, do a product launch, right? So if I'm launching a new online course that I have on my website, or, I might crank out some fun new stuff on social media. So that's that second phase. The third phase, so this one is more now. So this one, as a woman, this is when we now ovulate. And so this is more of if we're in that moon time with the full moon. And again, the author of Moontime calls this one more of like the mother, or this one's more like summer. And so this one is where we're very expressive. We are passive and outgoing. There's more conscious reasoning. So this might be, with that conscious reasoning, that might be a good time to schedule meetings. It's an outward focus for creativity. The best time for communication. So this might be the week where I mass produce blogs and videos and content, because I'm really going to be really good at communication, empathy, productivity, teamwork, supporting others, emotional creativity, and creating relationships. So this might also be a really great week for girls' nights and coffee dates with my girlfriends, and even group exercise classes. So going in to a group of, in with a group of people. So it might be whether it's vinyasa yoga or Pure Barre, or just a group X class at my gym, and having those connections with those women. And then the fourth phase, so this is more again where we kind of circle back around and the moon starts to get darker now. So again, we're kind of facing now. So instead of being so outward facing, again, we're coming into that fall season, or that premenstrual phase, and it's starting to turn a little bit more inward. And so this is a time to still be creative and active, and we start to increase our subconscious awareness, right? So now it's a little bit more of that increasing of that internal, that inward facing, our subconscious, that, just our internal spirit. And this is the best time for inspired creativity, for out-of-the-box thinking, for problem identification, problem solving, and assertiveness. So this might be a good time for whether it's business meetings, for strategy in my business, for doing my calendar for the month, doing checklists, kind of checking things off the list, being productive. And another good week for some resistance training, some weights, some vinyasa, some different stuff like that, and then we start back over at phase 1 with menstruation. So that's just kind of what I'm going to start to make my calendar look like. So I'm going to start to sync everything to the full moon. So as you can see, the next couple days actually it's like sync to the full moon. And then I even in my calendar I put in all the different lunar dates and when the moon is doing what and what phases, and then added those into my calendar, so that I kind of know what's going on. I marked my period. I'm going to kind of just take some notes as I go and document what's going on and how I'm feeling, how I'm noticing if I'm kind of picking up on some good flows and good rhythms. And again, if you guys have any fun things that you have found, let me know. I'm all ears. I am just kind of figuring this out as I go, but I have this intuitive hit that I need to do this. So we'll see. I will keep you guys updated. Hopefully this helps somebody besides just me. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll talk to you next time.